Hi, today I'm going to go through how we go about annotating a piece of work. First, we're going to grab a coloured pen, and the very first thing we're going to look at is how many stanzas are in the piece. We have 1, 2, 3. The stanzas are another word for the paragraphs that we use when looking at poetry. With our first coloured pen, we're going to go ahead and mark them in. Then we're going to change to another coloured pen, this time having a look at how many syllables are in each line. Taking a look at line 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The pen will continue to count just to show that each line within the stanza has 10 syllables. If we were to continue to read all through the prologue, this would be the case for each line. We can go ahead and mark that in another colour. You don't have to copy exactly the way I've done it. That is the beauty of annotations. It can be whatever makes the most sense to you. This is simply an example to show what you could do. So the very first thing we're going to recognize is that the prologue is a sonnet. The reason we know it's a sonnet is because there are 14 lines. The lines each have 10 syllables, and it follows a rhyming structure of A, B, A, B. The reason that Shakespeare would open Romeo and Juliet with a sonnet is that sonnets famously are connected with love. And as we would have discussed so far, love is one of the themes that we are looking at within Romeo and Juliet. I've written this section in purple as it corresponds with the syllables and stanzas. That way, when we add in other colours and other keys, it will be clear that these circles are connected to these notes. Next, we will take a new colour and have a look for any poetic language. The first thing that jumps out to me is the use of repetition. We have where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. As we scan through the lines, we also see the word who tying in with the theme of two households, two star-crossed lovers. We also see the repeating word of death, also tying in with one of our other themes of the text. The next thing I notice is the sentence, "From forth the fatal loins of these two foes," that repeating F sound being a use of alliteration. And finally, we have from ancient grudge break to new mutiny. That juxtaposition of the word ancient next to the word new. Then we can go ahead and label the different types of poetic devices that we have found. I'm only going to use a letter to save on the space, and then I will use that as my key and note it down in the green pen on a separate part of the page. Having the different colours makes it easier as you scan through the text to find evidence that you're looking for. If I'm looking for the way that Shakespeare has used language and poetic devices, I will be scanning through for the colour green. Versus if I'm looking for the structure of the writing and the structure of the poetry, I'll know to look for purple. So as we move on, we will choose a new color. This time we have red and orange. We are looking through for rhyme. As we read through, we can see that the words dignity and mutiny rhyme, as do foes and overthrows. In the final stanza, we have rage and stay. Swapping over to our other color, we go back, stanza 1. We have the words seen and unclean, life and strife, attend and mend. You can now see the AB structure. Every first and third line rhymes, every second and fourth line rhymes. Obviously with an exception in stanza 3, though it does look like love and remove should rhyme, we go by how they are said when we are looking at poetry and scripts. In our new color, we start to look for themes. As we've identified in class, the themes we are looking for are love, fate, foes or enemies, death, and aid. In our new color, we scan through our chosen section. We place a box around any words connected to our themes. Here we can find foes and star-crossed. Star-crossed connecting to fate, foes and enemies connecting to love and hate. We also have multiple references to death. The fact that it is the prologue and we are introducing the play, it makes sense that we would signpost a lot of the themes that are to come and that are going to be the focus of the play. Obviously, if you're following along at home and you spot any others, add them in. But this is giving you a guide and some to start with. In our final color, we are now going to have a look for any words that might be unfamiliar. Here I'm going to mark doth, as that's not so common nowadays, as well as piteous. What you would then do is have a look for the definitions of these terms. If we were to use doth nowadays, we would replace it with does. And rather than using the full piteous, a word we are more familiar with would be pity. If there are any other words that you note, feel free to add your own definitions. And then finally, we add any thoughts, analysis, connection of these themes, characters, settings. The first thing I would note is that the opening of the play is delivered by a chorus. They begin the play and the action and show that they are connected to the story of Romeo and Juliet, and Romeo and Juliet's actions affect everyone. But also note the setting of the play, highlighted in line 2. As we read through stanzas 2 and 3, it becomes clear that in this prologue, Shakespeare is summarizing all of the events in the play that are yet to come, and even spoiling the ending in its opening moments. We know that the play is going to look at star-crossed lovers. It's going to end with them taking their lives. We're going to focus on love, family, death. The parents are mentioned multiple times, showing that connection to family, and that they will be tied in with the fate of their children. In the final section, Shakespeare also reminds us that this is a play, and it is written with the intent of being performed for an audience.